What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Barbecue. What I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm going to be using some leftover turkey to come up with a recipe. Now, I'm really not sure what to call this recipe because it's just something that I'm throwing together, but in my mind what I'm thinking about is almost like a chicken and dumplings except with turkey and lasagna. At least that's what's going on in my head. We'll see if it works out. We're going to be using some leftovers from a turkey that I smoked yesterday. If you want to see that video, I'll leave a link to that video in the iCard above. Take a look at that. So we're using the leftover turkey from that. We're going to be using some turkey stock from that turkey. Once I was done cooking the turkey, I broke the carcass down and made some homemade turkey stock. And those are going to be our two main ingredients along with some lasagna noodles. We're also going to be using some frozen red onions that I have here. We have some mozzarella cheese slices, some butter, and some basil that I needed to get rid of because it was frozen. And we have some flour. So this recipe is just something, like I said, that we're going to be throwing together. This is something that I was really just kind of scavenging my refrigerator and freezer for different ingredients, and this is what I came up with. Without further ado, our first step is going to be to cook our onions down. Let's get started. So I'm starting off with about 3/4 of a stick of butter, and we're going to go ahead and get this kind of melted down a little bit. It doesn't need to be melted down the whole way. We're going to go ahead and throw in our onions. Now we're going to go ahead and cook these onions until they start getting just before caramelization. While these onions have been cooking in this butter, I have been cooking my lasagna. They're in a pot right now, and we're going to boil those for about 10 minutes. We're going to go ahead and add some flour to our onions. And what we're really going to be looking for is kind of almost a gravy, but I want it to be thicker than your average gravy. And I'm eyeballing this, but if you look in the description below, I will try to have my approximate amounts down there in case you want to do this yourself. We've cooked this flour long enough for that gluten taste to kind of come out of it. Now we're going to go ahead and add our chicken stock. And I'm probably going to need more than that, but we're going to judge that down the road. Let's give it a quick stir. And this is going to start thickening up. I have our basil, which is here, and I'm just going to, this basil was frozen, so if you crumble it up or whatever, it's just going to come right off the stem. And I think that's enough basil. I'm going to go ahead and refreeze the rest of this. Let's go ahead and add our chicken in, or our turkey, excuse me. And like I said, we are probably going to be adding more liquid to this. As a matter of fact, we're definitely going to be adding more liquid to it. But this is going to create my base and let me know exactly how much more liquid I need to thicken it up without getting too loose or being too thick. Alright, so like I said, we're going for a very thick gravy. Maybe thicker than a spaghetti sauce or somewhere around that neighborhood. And since this is a recipe that we are just throwing together, I'm going to add a different ingredient that I didn't mention in the beginning. This looks a little dark to me. I'm going to go ahead and add some whole milk. That's about 1/4 cup just to kind of lighten it up a bit. So this is about the thickness that we're looking for right here. Like I said, it's kind of almost like a chicken pot pie-ish type of a consistency or something along those lines. What I'm going to let it do now is I'm going to let it cool all the way down so it's a little bit easier to work with. It's going to thicken up a little bit during that process as well, and then we'll get to building our recipe. So our mixture is cooled down. Now we're just going to start layering our, I guess I'll call it a casserole. We're going to start layering our casserole. So we're just going down with a little bit of this. Come back over it with our lasagna noodles. Go with some cheese. And like I said, this is just something we're throwing together. I'm hoping that this turns out as good as I think it is. You know what, this is pretty much it. I will just go ahead and just put a little bit more on the top. But that's all the layers we're going to do. I'm going to throw this in the oven at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And then we will pick this up tomorrow. I think this is going to taste even better if I let it have a chance to sit in the refrigerator overnight. This has had a chance to sit in the refrigerator overnight, just about 24 hours, have a chance to kind of firm up. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some Parmesan cheese. And I'm just doing this as an afterthought. I had some left over I needed to go through. And once I get this on, we're just going to throw it in the oven. And I have the oven set at about 265 degrees. I just want to bring it up to temperature slow so it stays firm. And we'll be eating this in about an hour. So here's what it's looking like coming out of the oven. I'm going to go ahead and plate up some of this, taste it, see what's up. So it is finally time for me to get in on this creation. Like I said, I was kind of trying to go between almost a chicken and dumpling and a lasagna. Let's see what we think. Let me cut a smaller bite. This is a nice take. I tell you, definitely kind of get the little dumpling situation from the lasagna noodles. Man, I don't even know how to explain it. Just imagine a chicken lasagna without a whole bunch of cheese and a little bit more dense. Love it. Give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. Thanks for stopping by No Hippie Barbecue. I appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.